It's 2003. I'm 10 years old, standing in the middle of a bustling Sydney food court. My mother hands me a $20 bill and asks me to go and order McDonald's for my brother and I. We walk up to the Golden Arches, palms sweaty, knees weak. Not going to say the third bit because I'm better than that.
Arms are heavy.
I'm so terrified of other people that when an older woman asks me if I'm in line, I say, no. And then just stand there, a ball of prepubescent anxiety. 5 minutes later, I return to my mum, head hung, ashamed, handing her her unused $20 bill. From that point on, I became obsessed with figuring out what made people confident and how I too could become the kind of rock star capable of standing in line without wanting to die. It's so basic. What a basic need. Welcome back, everyone. If you're new here, I'm Josh. I'm an actor, engineer, and comedian bringing you self-help knowledge with a twist. If you didn't know already, today we're talking about confidence. I'm going to run you through 5 massive lessons here that have helped me grow from that scared little McIntrovert in the food court to the paragon of self-worth you see before you now. I'm joking. I have a long way to go, and I will for the rest of my days. Let's jump in. Number 1. Confidence is self-worth. These two terms are interchangeable to me now. I used to think that confidence was about puffing up your chest and proving you're the alpha male or whatever. But in reality, it's nothing more than believing you are worthy of being your authentic self. If you don't like yourself, then you're going to try to run away from that authenticity, and it's just going to cause you to put up all these facades, hold all these masks up. And in my experience, you can never be confident from an inauthentic place because you're building a house on a very shaky foundation. You need to find the courage to allow yourself to be seen by other people. Now, when you're not confident, this is really hard because we feel like whatever's really going on in here is far too ugly to be accepted by other people. And so we feel that we're not worthy. Now, there are 2 solutions I use for this. The first one is the inherent worth argument. This is basically the argument that every human being is equally worthy on an inherent fundamental level. You can call it a divine spark, the soul, whatever you want. Basically, we all deserve to be here. We tend to fall into traps of thinking that we're uniquely terrible.
Oh, I'm so bad. Oh, I'm so naughty.
But think about this. Are you ever really talking to someone else and thinking, God, this person's worthless. God, they're so much less worthy than me. They don't deserve to be here. I mean, I don't. And if I do, it's usually coming from a place of defensiveness, which is my problem, not their problem anyway. And by that logic, if you think that everyone else has worth, then surely you have to admit that you have worth as well, unless you think you're absolutely 1 in a billion, which is, in its own way, narcissistic. So no, you're worthy. You're worthy, you're worthy, you're worthy. You're allowed to be yourself. Me saying that is not going to change you immediately, but I just want to plant the seed because if you keep growing that plant, it builds confidence from the ground up. This is fundamental shit. The second way I've been able to grow my authenticity is to remind myself that being myself is a filter for attracting the kind of people that I want in my life. So the more fake shit that I've removed from my persona and allowed myself to shine through, the faster I've found people that really gel with me. Because of course, when you're being yourself, you're basically putting out a beacon that says, this is who I really am. If you like this, come in. And if you don't, that's fine too. And attracting a tribe of people that really connect with you is a great way to build confidence. Number 2, tolerate silence. We get so afraid of awkward pauses in conversation. And you know what? The more myself I get, the more I realize that it's actually okay. Silence is okay. Awkwardness, completely okay. This is basically exposure therapy because it's the thing we're most afraid of happening in conversation. So if you can learn to sit in silence, acknowledge it, tolerate it, even start to enjoy it. When you learn to sit in silence, you're basically looking that monster you're afraid of straight in the eyes and saying, I can handle you. It just becomes so much easier to relax in conversation. And when you're relaxed, you're present. When you're present, you connect. And when you connect, conversations go well, relationships develop, and your confidence climbs up. So my challenge to you is, next time you're in a conversation, see if you can intentionally bring on an awkward silence. It's really scary, but it's very fun. And you do it a couple times, you realize it's not so bad. It's really not so bad. No one's going to hate you for it. And if they hate you for one awkward silence, it's them. 3, have faith in the moment. There's a great principle in improv comedy, which is basically getting up on stage with nothing prepared and trying to make people laugh, which is bring a brick, not a cathedral. What does that mean? It means over-preparing hurts you. If you're not very confident and you really want a conversation to go well, you might pre-prepare a whole list of notes or conversation topics and try to stick to them so that you can make sure things go well. But ironically, that tends to stunt the conversation because there's nothing happening now. There's just you in your head running through pre-prepared notes trying to make things click. That's trying to bring a whole cathedral in. Bringing a brick is coming in with just one question and trusting that if you stay with this person in the moment, listen to their answer, they will provide you something in their answer that you can use to take the conversation further. For me, this has been a game changer in friendships and in dating. I find that when meeting someone new, there's this small period of small talk, and then I'll notice just something, the way they laugh, or for example, I was meeting with another YouTube creator and I was kind of nervous about it because they're much more successful than me, and we're talking and I'm kind of worried about it, and then I noticed that he ordered a triple shot latte. And I was like, Jesus Christ, man, 3 shots? Why'd 3 shots I'd be shaking like this? And then we laughed, and then we talked about anxiety for like 15 minutes. And that only came about because I called out something in the moment. That's a brick. That's an offer. He takes it. He brings another brick. Brick, brick, brick. Cathedral. Trust that everything you need for a great conversation is here in the present moment with you and the other person. Leave the prep at home. If you can do that, your authentic self is much more likely to show up, and every time you're being authentic, your confidence is growing. Number 4, take risks. Just take a bunch of small risks in conversation, by which I mean physical touch. Touch someone's shoulder when you're laughing together, or intentionally tell a bad joke and sit in it. I'll tell one right now. Where do you find a dog with no legs? Right where you left it. When you do this, you're pushing on the boundaries of your comfort zone and expanding it. And the more you can feel comfortable in situations, the more confident you're going to be. Number 5, attack your weaknesses. This one's about finding the places that scare you the most and going directly into them. So for me, I was very scared of talking to other men. I find it easier to talk to women than men. I think because with women I can flirt, which gives me some illusion of control, where with men I just get very easily intimidated. So I decided to start doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because that's intentionally putting myself in a situation with a lot of men and actively cultivating aggression, a healthy amount of aggression. And at first, standing in that dojo, I was completely terrified. But after a few months there, my confidence started to develop simply by virtue of going consistently. This one's probably the hardest to do because you're intentionally going into the belly of the beast, which is why I put it last. But if you can, it's also the fastest way to increase confidence. Now, one huge obstacle to developing confidence is social anxiety. And if you're interested in mastering your social anxiety, watch this video here. Thank you so much for watching. And bonus, if anyone leaves any comment in the section below, I will do a dramatic reading of my favorite comment in the next video. So write something really weird and watch me commit to it 100%. See you guys later.